This is Frameform.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday in this post-eclipse reality. Yes, we have just experienced a momentous event. And in a nice effort to keep this evergreen, I will not tell you where this event took place or when, just that we are here, and despite the fact that the moon has gone in front of the sun for a few minutes, we are still alive indeed. Today we're presenting part 2 of Frameform's collaboration with Cinedans. What is Cinedans? Well, it's a festival based in Amsterdam that specializes in presenting, developing, and distributing dance film work in all possible meanings and expansions of the form. Thanks to the strength of its programming over the past 20 years, as well as its extensive professional and networking program, Cinedans really has established itself as a destination event for dance film professionals. And in 2024, celebrating its 20th anniversary, it attracted visitors from all around the world, from Hong Kong to Suriname and, of course, California. So this year, Cinedans celebrated its 20th anniversary with a 5-day program that was jam-packed, and I mean jam-packed, like 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., full of events from film screenings to workshops to work-in-progress showings to film pitches and professional meetings, professional presentations. Really, not only to experience incredible films, but also to have a meeting of the minds and talk about what the state of dance film and dance film presentation is. And one of these events was a masterclass given by Iranian-Canadian musician and film director Kavah Nabatian, who was also on the jury of the event. Now, you may know Kavah from many of his short films, as well as his feature-length film, Sin La Habana. Over the course of this masterclass, Kavah shared excerpts of films that informed his approach, such as those by Tarkovsky, Orson Welles, Wong Kar-wai, as well as scintillating excerpts from his own work. And I must say, there's a phenomenal image from his film Seven Last Words, where an elderly woman gracefully skydives from a Cessna alongside a 16mm film op. That is not an image I am going to forget anytime soon. Here are 2 excerpts of Kavah's masterclass, and both of these selections really speak to his ability to succinctly and effectively deliver thought-provoking insight within a very short span of time.
One thing we've been talking about in the jury is what makes a dance film, and I guess there's probably a lot of academic stuff that could be said about that. For my purposes, it means a film that involves bodies and movement, so it can be kind of anything. And the first thing I'm going to do is, I guess, actually what I want to say is, sometimes when we watch dance films, it's like, would this have been better on stage? As if so, why is it a film? And I'm interested in how can we use the camera and the sound, the elements of cinema, to make something that is different than a filmed performance. And there's certain performances that are going to be way better on a stage, and they shouldn't be turned into films. I don't think, personally. I'm sure there's a lot of people who might disagree. But yeah, that's where I'm coming from. The idea, like, what is consciousness to begin with? Consciousness is kind of a hallucination. We've got our 5 senses, and we've got our memories and our anxieties, and we're thinking about the future, and we're kind of like trying to understand our world through our senses. But what if we had an extra sense? Or what if we had 1 sense less? Do people who don't see, do they really live a less full life? Do they have a less rich understanding of life? I don't think so. So kind of the way I like to think of these is that we're basically living in this constant not simulation, that sounds weird, but this constant hallucination where we're trying to make sense of something that is so far beyond us. It's impossible to understand the enormity of reality, of existence. And so as this coping mechanism, we link all of our senses together, and we try to find a way to cope and make our way through the world. And I think that the reason we're drawn to film, to music, to religion, to rituals, is that they give us a little break from the hallucination, and they provide an alternate hallucination. And by seeing that that hallucination is valid too, it gives another sense of meaning to our lives.
Like other dance film festivals, Cinedans features an exciting array of film events, from the premieres of films from the likes of Samantha Shea to absorbing features such as a documentary on Loa Fuller and Kavah Nabatian's own film, Kita Zoa, Leave the Bones, a docu-screen dance piece that takes a powerful and dynamic journey through Haitian history and culture. The latter film was presented in association with the three stated themes of Cinedans' 2024 event: resistance, resilience, and freedom, grief and reconciling the past, and rituals and healing. These themes coalesced in a dedicated program called Breaking the Chains, which highlighted films with post-colonial themes from different countries and historical perspectives, portraying ancestral rituals, struggles for independence, spirituality, and the persistent pervasive effects of slavery. The program began with a very unique live invocation, along with an introduction from Cinedans programmer Iris Robles, both of which set the tone for the films that followed.
Umbegi kinageo damie, umbegi kinageo mabalawao, umbegi kinageo damino, umbegi kinageo eyo, umbegi kinageo mabalawai. Umbegi kinageo ramino, umbegi kinageo, ke umbegi kinageo, mabalawao. Te wongwa blantini, umembe mie, mabalawao. Umembe mie, umembe mio, umembe mie. Te wongwa blantini, mike umembe mio, umembe mie, umembe mie. Mike umembe mio, umembe mie, umembe mio, umembe mio, tamidia banawao. Domponaini, te wongwa blantini, mike umembe mio. Umembe mie, umembe mie, umembe mio, umembe mie, umembe mio, domponaini, mike umembe mio, tamidia banawao. Te wongwa blantini, umembe mio, umembe mie, umembe mie, ke umembe mio, umembe mio, umembe mie, umembe mio tami dia blawo komponaini umembe mio tami dia blawo.
Welcome at Cinedans Fest 24, where we also celebrate our 20 year. But this was actually the text. But first of all, I want to thank Jose Toyo, connoisseur of the Maroon culture, founder of Kulas Koro and Apalai Pavilion, for the blessing ceremony. Krantanje. Cinedans presents the special Breaking the Change and 3 documentaries in this festival. In this special, we watch films with post-colonial themes, independent struggle, liberation, and of course freedom, and how slavery is still present in current time. But filmmakers are reframing the narrative. So we will see a lot of different and many different perspectives. Also music and dance plays a crucial and prominent role in rituals and in the ancestral world. In the documentary Kamina Queen, we hear, once you hit that drum, you call the ancestors. Well, Jose, we did. So, I hope the ancestors will guide us in these magical films, and I hope you enjoy.
Among the films in the Breaking the Chains program included the film Black Tito Addressing the Parliament of Ghosts, from Christian Garamachi. The film features the persona developed by Garamachi of Black Tito, referencing Yugoslav politician and revolutionary Joseph Broz Tito. The film makes visible the cultural connections from the time of the non-aligned movement during the Cold War between the cultures of Ghana and Yugoslavia. Garamachi participated in the post-screening Q&A along with Gabri Krista, who you may remember from last season from our partnership with Dance Camera West. Gabri's latest film, Kankantri, The Silk Cotton Tree, also premiered in this program. The film was created on site in Suriname and depicts a woman who enters a synagogue and is transported to the parallel universe of all her ancestors who do not let her leave until she participates in their dances and rituals. The film is inspired by Gabri's research into her Surinamese father's ancestors and the country's many dances and rituals. Gabri's dancer, Honora van Honoren, as well as her director of photography, Steven Elbers, participated in the Q&A, which was also moderated by Iris Robles.
First, thanks for everyone being here. Maybe stretch. And I want to acknowledge, and I'm going to have them come forward in a second, Honora, who danced. Honora, can you please stand? Ja? Ja. Maar even, ja. Dan ga ik even zitten. En Steven Elbers, who shot and edited.
So for the people, because I think a lot of people know, but I'm going to change my... Gabri Krista made the film Kankantri, The Silk...
Cotton tree?
Kapokboom. Honorary dancer, Steven Elbers. You can introduce camera, editing. And Christian Garamachi also. He had a previous film which we saw, Siren Tito, so Black Tito addressing the Parliament of Ghosts. Welcome all.
Thank you.
So this was a world premiere of Gabri. There we have a Dutch premiere. Thank you for all being here. Where to start? And oh yeah, and I want to thank the dancers. Mimi, thank you. Mami, thank you so much. And of course, to introduce also the Surinamese ancestors here. Starting with whom do I start? You are exploding almost. You want to please, please. Shall we give the floor? Or Christian, shall I? Christian, let's first Christian because it was the previous.
Yes, well, first of all, thank you, Cinedans and Martina. It's so amazing to be part of all this beautiful art. So I am very honored and very thankful for having a Dutch premiere here. So yes, that was, I wanted to say this.
Okay, then I have a quick, because I was really puzzled also by Black Tito and the Parliament of Ghosts. So for those, I mean, Tito, former Yugoslavia, and then I see this, and then I know I saw Ghana also. Can you maybe elaborate a bit for us on this?
Yes, of course. Ghana, as well as Yugoslavia, where I am from, have this same history of a non-aligned movement or non-alignment that was in the time of the Cold War. So they were not aligned with the West or the NATO, and not aligned with the Warsaw Pact or the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And like with many other countries, actually, they found each other and empowered each other. And that was after the Second World War. And actually, there were a lot of liberation movements and actually independences from the former colonial masters. And Yugoslavia was playing a prominent role in reaching out to these countries and kind of establishing a new start. And yes, this what we saw is actually a communication, a discourse, dialogue between two artistic projects, let's say. One is Ibrahim Mahama's
Exactly, because that's the Parliament of Ghosts.
Parliament
Yeah.
of Ghosts, which is in Tamale in Ghana. So I heard about that place, and I know that Ibrahim and also in Ghana they are very interested in this history of the non-aligned movement, which I was myself, and I made a performance here in the Netherlands in Amsterdam, a non-aligned movement, which was actually the figure of Tito was there very present. It is talking about my Black Slovenian identity, and I took this figure as a voice because I'm a dancer, and that was really the voice kind of liberation, let's say. And this I translated then to Tamale, and this movie. So this movie happened. Yeah.
I know, thank you for telling this. I know you can tell a lot of, because it's really interesting. Before we also go to Gabri, is there in the audience maybe a question for Christian? Is there somebody who wanted to know something or not? Ah, there,
Yes.
yeah, we have one. I'm coming up with the mic, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I can hear it. The thing is, a fan, I wouldn't say a fan. It is the thing of lost histories, and that some certain pages are kind of lost in history and are now interpreted. But I was second last generation of Tito's pioneers. So this is my history. This is where I'm coming from, and that's why I put this prominent role to this Tito as a personage, but also to what the non-aligned movement and what Tito and Yugoslavia stood for is actually kind of can contribute to the world of today. That's why Tito.
I only wanted to agree, Christian, because this is really true. There's this history of Tito and the non-alignment, and dive into it if you don't know it, because it's really interesting, I think, to know also what you say, to contribute to nowadays. Thank you for this. And also the other world premiere film also contributed, I think, for me. And I know for you this is a long journey. It's also a historical. But for you, I know with Cinedans, I think it started 10 years ago. You had a sort of idea.
Yeah, I've been wanting to make this film for a long time. Actually, ever since I entered the synagogue, I had that idea. Yeah.
Can you tell a little bit about how you started, how you, please?
Yeah, so I was in Paramaribo, and I entered the synagogue on my last visit, and I got goosebumps, and I was like, why do I have goosebumps in the synagogue? And so I called my dad, and then I have a bunch of family here, and I figured, and all of a sudden I was like, what's the history of Opa? And he said, well, yeah, there's some Jews in there, and so that's where it started. And then we have a group app, and we figured that we have the Helbronds and the Levi in the family. And so I had this very strong reaction to this particular place. Yeah, and then of course, and the ancestors that sort of like came to me, and in a way that's the story, sort of what happened within the synagogue.
Okay, and what I also see is that you made this journey with all these groups who are in Suriname, of course.
Yeah.
You portray them, but she,
Honore, yeah.
Honore, you make this beautiful. I have to say compliment. Make it beautiful with all the rituals. But why did you want to show this in the? What it was the idea behind it?
Well, for me, music, dance, actually dance and rituals are, and the connection to our ancestors are our strength. It's not like, oh, we suffer. For me, we come from the people who survived. And as my ohm said also in the other, like somebody was a rapist, right? But we survived, and we come from strong people. And just to accept all the parts, maybe even the parts that came through slavery or came to all of it, being indentured workers, like contractarbeiders, contracties. That if you embrace all of that, you're stronger through it. And if you embrace what kept people surviving, which is the dance and the rituals, like that's the power. And so that's what I wanted to do. And then when I met Honore, until now there was no pictures of her on the internet. I had no idea what she looked like. A friend of mine told me, you have to go meet this woman, because she also went to Rotterdam. She started a dance school. In Suriname, it's really hard to, be a dancer and a professional person. I walked in and I saw her, and I was like, you're my main character. Also because when I looked at her, and she's a gorgeous dancer, it just was such a gift. But also she could really, if you say, oh, you're Chinese and black, you believe it. And the people in Suriname are all mixed, so it was very important for me to have somebody who you know. And there are people in Suriname that have everything. They have the Chinese, they have everything. Yeah.
Stephen, you did an amazing work also here. Now, how was it for you to go there and to work and to this?
Really special, because when I was younger, I was going to Suriname, but not to the places that you just saw in the movie. So I'm really grateful that Gabri showed me these places, and that I could do my practice there and capture these beautiful shots in the country I love most, Suriname.
Honore, because I know you arrived 2 days ago.
Yes.
All the way from Suriname. Thank you.
You're welcome.
To being here. How was this project for you? I mean, you have a school in Suriname, and
yes. Well, like Gabi said, I studied here a long time ago, and then I went to Jamaica and lived there for 20 years. In Kingston, I taught at the Edna Manley College, so very familiar in the Caribbean, Belize, Dominican Republic, Barbados. So I went back 10 years ago. I opened a studio, was teaching, and I heard about Gabby, So when she contacted me, I thought I was supposed to help with a project, produce. And it was during the corona, and it never happened. And then she said she's coming. And she came into the studio, and I was teaching, and I had an absent teacher, so I was just running around between the babies. And she said, yes, you're my this. And I said, okay. So she asked me, can I write the script? So I said, okay. and I had no idea. So when the script came 2 weeks after, I was like, oh my God, I have to dance. So that was a real like, oh my, okay, can I do it? But it was very fun. I met some nice people. It was a nice production week. Learned a lot. And yeah, I made good friends. So it was a fun project. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Honora.
I hope you enjoyed these little sound bites from the 20th edition of Cinedans, which again took place at the Eye Museum in Amsterdam in March of 2024. Now, I'm speaking significantly after March of 2024, and I'm still processing and thinking about not only the films that were presented, but also the discussions that were had. And I want to give a huge shout out to Maya Sorensen, who is also helping establish the Nordic Screen Dance Network. She is very busy, but she led a very fruitful and generative conversation regarding the state of screen dance and the needs of the network. And we really came away from this meeting with tangible, actionable items that will certainly continue far beyond the festival space. This is a shameless plug to follow the Screen Dance calendar, not only to keep up to date on different open calls and events, but also for regular meetings and discussions of those interested in screen dance. Just giving these discussions further momentum and hoping that we'll see tangible things coming out of them. I want to take a moment to give a huge thank you to the Cinedans team, not only for staging such an incredible and what I can imagine was a time-intensive event, but also for facilitating this collaboration with Frameform and helping me with the necessary items to make these recordings happen. So thank you to Andreas Hannes, to Christina Darova, to Giacomo. Thank you so much for responding to my very delayed emails. To Iris, to Irina, Martine Decker for your fearless leadership, and to many more years of Cinedans.
This is Frameform, hosted by Hannah Weber, Jen Ray, and Claire Schweitzer. Edited by the Frameform team, and music by Mason Carlton. Thanks for listening.